Brexit UK Parliament gives decisive vote to delay Brexit D3adline stuff.co.nz. Copyright 2019 Stuff Limited. Britain's Parliament voted on Thursday UK time to seek a delay of the country's departure from the European Union, a move that will likely avert a chaotic withdrawal, on the scheduled exit date of March 29. With Brexit due in 15 days and no divorce deal yet approved, the House of Commons voted 412 to 102 to ask the bloc to postpone Britain's exit until at least June 30. Power to approve or reject the extension lies with the EU, whose officials have said they will only allow a delay if Britain either approves a divorce deal or makes a fundamental shift in its approach to Brexit. In a historic irony, almost 3 years after Britain voted to leave the EU, its future is now in the bloc's hands. Read more *********. By law, Britain will leave the EU on March 29, with or without a deal, unless it cancels Brexit or secures a delay. While the Parliament vote gives Prime Minister Theresa May some breathing space, it was still humbling for a leader who has spent 2 years telling Britons they were leaving the bloc on that date. Lawmakers have twice rejected her EU divorce deal and also ruled out leaving the EU without an agreement. Withdrawing without it, but there was some good news for May, as lawmakers rejected an attempt to strip her of control over Brexit. The House of Commons defeated the idea by just 2 votes, 314-312, leaving May least temporarily in charge of the Brexit agenda. Lawmakers also voted to rule out the idea of holding a second Brexit referendum, at least for now. By a decisive 334-85 vote, they defeated a motion that called for another vote by the public on whether to stay in the EU or leave. Campaigners for a new referendum are divided over whether the time is right to push for a second Brexit vote. The vote didn't postponing Brexit gives May some respite, amid a crisis that has shredded her authority and obliterated her control of a fractious Conservative minority government. On Wednesday, despite the rebuffs and the political chaos, May has signaled she will try a third time to get backing for her agreement next week. She is seeking to Alan Wager, a researcher at the UK, a Changing Europe think tank. If the delay is approved next week, May hopes to use it to enact legislation needed for Britain's departure. She has warned owing to pressure, the government said on Thursday that if May's deal is not approved by next week, Parliament will get votes on other options, including a closer relationship with the bloc than the government wants to see if any can command a majority. Any delay in the Brexit process would require the unanimous approval of all 27 remaining EU member states. Officials and national leaders in the bloc are exasperated at the events in London. They have said they will, under Belgian Prime Minister Charles Michel said the EU needed more. In another sting for the beleaguered May, US President Donald Trump said he was surprised. Speaking alongside Irish Prime Minister Leo Varadkar at the White House, Trump said Britain's debate over leaving the EU was tearing. The EU, meanwhile, is reluctant to postpone Brexit beyond the late May elections for the European Parliament, because that would mean Britain taking part even as it prepares to leave. The bloc is more open to a long delay to allow Britain to radically change course, an idea favoured by pro-EU British lawmakers who want to maintain close ties with the EU. European Council President Donald Tusk tweeted that he will appeal to EU leaders to. Conservative lawmaker George Freeman suggested that May had been so damaged by Brexit that she should promise to quit to get her deal through. British lawmakers have just voted to delay Brexit, just 15 days before the country is scheduled to leave the European Union. The House of Commons voted by 412 to 102 in favour of seeking to postpone the UK's departure for at least 3 months beyond the scheduled March 29 departure from the EU. The motion commits Prime Minister Theresa May's Conservative government to seek an extension until June 30 if Parliament approves a UK-EU withdrawal deal next week. British lawmakers have already rejected May's EU divorce deal twice, and if it fails a third time, the government says the UK's looking at a much longer delay to Brexit. Copyright 2019 Stuff Limited.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.